Good morning, we're live on the Trade Decorator Festival, and this morning I'm joined by Chris Lee and Clive Reeves from Knauf. We're going to be looking at an introduction to Knauf Airless Finish, which is a highly efficient alternative to traditional plaster for finishing walls and ceilings. Now, before we go to the demonstration, I just want to tell you a little bit about what's going to be happening this morning. We will be joined by the guys live for the Q&A a little later in the session. Feel free to comment in the comments box. Please refrain from putting any questions in this part of the session because we won't see them when we go through to the Q&A, and I'll tell you how that bit will work when we get there. So now here is the demonstration.
So I'm commonly asked which is the right way to empty the airless finish into the hopper. So we always have the handle at the end ready to be cut so we can lift it up. The other end where the material is loaded into the factory has some dry material. If you get it the other way around, the dry material drops into the hopper and it can block the tip. Let me show you how easy it is. So I've already got this loaded. It's already got a little bit of pre-tension. I'm just literally going to make a very small cut. You can see how easy that is now. Absolutely no waste, yeah, no waste at all. The other question people ask about this machine is, do you run the filters? There's a filter inside this machine there. You use these filters only when you're spraying paint, so that needs to be removed. Also, there's a strainer that sits in the bottom of the piston pump area there. That again is only used for spray painting. You don't need to use it with our product, so that needs to be removed. So with the Graco Mark V, that's the machine that we always recommend. Is the very minimum machine usage for this type of material. The tip you're using is a 535. The actual hole diameter is 0.8 of a millimetre, and normally on the wall when you spray you end up with a 500mm spray pattern. Simply what you want to do now is place this back down, clean any excess round with a wet brush, put the lid on top. That will stop any air getting to the product, so that'll keep it nice and moist and wet. If it's in really hot or humid conditions, you might want to put a very small amount of water on top, help it condense and keep the product wet. This would take about 125 kilograms of material, which is about 5 bags. So when we spray the Knauf Airless Finish on the wall, it's a 2-coat system, and really we're looking for a minimum of 2mm on the wall. And when you're spraying the airless, you'll always make sure every pass has a 50% overlap, so you're always overlapping to make sure you get the right volume on the wall. If your jointing is a little bit under, you can always pre-fill with some of the airless products prior to spraying on the wall. One of the most common tools to use is a spatula. We always recommend the use of a stainless steel flexible blade. Normally anything around 0.4 of a millimetre is great. One of the good points of this product is there's no need to use a wallboard primer on this product after sanding. You can apply your mist coat of paint. Most of the time you're using a mist coat on one. You don't need to do a mist coat on two, so it saves on paint. Anything you take off the wall can be applied straight back in the hopper, so there's minimal waste, no waste at all. The product will dry flat and matte and bright white. Drying time can be anything from 12 to 24 hours. Airflow is very important for drying time, so open your windows, make sure there's plenty of ventilation. Once the drying is complete, you can sand to a finish with 150 grit sandpaper, or you can use a flex sander, which we'd recommend 180 grit sandpaper.
That was our demonstration of the Knauf Airless Finish. What we're going to do now is join Chris Lee and Clive Reeves from Knauf for our Q&A. Now, after this part of the session finishes, a big red button will generate in the middle of the screen. Please don't press it because you'll see a replay of the demonstration we've just seen, and that is now available live on our website anytime you want to watch it. What you do need to do is press the green button beneath me which says join Q&A, and myself and the guys will do a quick mic check and we will join you in there, so bear with us, we'll see you in a minute. Thanks for joining us. Hello guys, thanks for joining us for the Q&A. We're live here now with Clive Reeves and Chris Lee from Knauf to take your questions. So in this part of the session, feel free to comment, say hi. I see you found the comments box. We do have an ask a question tab. just beneath us. If you could hit that, if you've got a specific question you'd like to ask the guys, that way we can keep track of the session and won't miss your questions with the comments. Now, if any of you are brave enough and like to come up on screen, you can actually come up and speak to the guys directly yourself and put your question to them. If you'd like to do that, then give me a shout in the comments, or when you ask your question, just say, you know, you would like to come up. Otherwise, I will put the question to the guys for you. So can you tell us a bit about what the product's made from, Clive?
Yeah, sure. Good morning, all, by the way. It's basically, it's not a gypsum-based product at all. It's actually made from crushed marble, which is then milled into powder. We then add to that polymer and organic binders. So it comes pre-mixed, ready in the bag, straight for use, as you saw in the video clip.
Okay. And what type of machine do you need to apply this finish?
Yeah, I can answer that. A Greco Mark V tech spray machine is the best machine to use with this product. So I've got a bit of an echo on the mic in a minute. Ideally, you want to use a hopper and a bag roller. 110 volt is the machine. Sorry, I've got a really bad echo. I'm just going to unplug and plug back in.
Okay, I'll try the get audio help below. It'll give you a 20-second buffer and should catch up. Okay, so do you want to take that, Clive? What tip size do you need to spray the product?
Yeah, we recommend a 535 tip spray for all the products. There is one product in the range called Airless Backing, where we tend to recommend a slightly higher tip at sort of 539, 541, and that's because that material is a little bit more dense. So to enable the machine to pump it easily, we just move up one tip size.
Oh, that makes sense. And what sort of preparations required?
Did you want to cover that one, Chris?
We've no sound from you, Chris.
I'll pick that up.
You've turned your mic off, Chris. Have a look at the top of your screen and turn your mic back on. You've turned it off. Okay. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, I'll carry on with that one. Basically, when you've got your new plasterboards erected, we need to obviously prepare the joints. So we wed a chemically set in joint filler and paper tape into the joint, dab out the screw heads, and obviously fix any angle beads or internal beads that you may need to do around the room or area that you work in. Once that's dry, then we can start to apply the spray plaster product.
Okay. Can you hear me, Chris? You've turned your mic off, so we can't hear anything you're saying. It's above your screen. I think if you hover over your image, there's a microphone and you can just turn it back on there, I think. Okay, if we carry on and hopefully he'll figure out how to put his mic back on. And how much... Sorry. Oh dear. How much water do you need to add?
With these products, you don't really need to add water unless it's obviously the temperatures are very cold, or it's in the winter months. We might add a small amount of water just to aid the material moving through the machine in colder temperatures. So normally it's straight from the bag into the machine and sprayed. In terms of the machine setup, then we obviously tend to run water through the pipes just to lubricate the hoses, so that when the materials does start to flow through, it goes through nicely and easily.
Okay, and what's the drying time then?
Yeah, drying is typically 12-24 hours. It's depending obviously on the substrate, but typically if it's onto plasterboard, then it can actually be less than that, particularly in the summer months when the weather's warmer. We find drying time can be as little as 6 to 8 hours. But typically what we say is overnight drying, so that you obviously sequence your work to maximize your productivity.
Right, and what are the application steps?
Well, the initial, so once you've got your substrate, whatever that may be, prepared, ready to receive the spray plaster, we spray ceilings first, and we typically come down the tops of the wall 300 to 400 millimeters, and then when you level that off, obviously you can level the ceiling and then the tops of the walls. Yeah. We then spray the walls, so we slightly overlap where we've already come down. And that way we don't get overspray back onto the ceiling, which you've already obviously just finished. once those are leveled, again, you allow that drying process overnight, and then basically you repeat that for a second step the following day, or whenever you're going to be applying your second coat of spray finish. So the drying is all subject to ventilation. So the more airflow you can introduce, whether that be, say, windows open, or just by introducing a fan that circulates cold air, that will speed up drying.
All right. And what about cost? What typically we be looking at paying for the product?
Obviously, cost is obviously subject to where people buy their materials from, but typically where we find that the cost of the spray plaster is between £1 and £1.10 per square metre on the wall. So that's based on the 2-coat finished application. So you could say 50 to 60p a coat if you like, but so actually it works out around about that overall.
Right. And where can I buy it from?
Well, you can buy it from all the usual builders merchants, people like Travis Perkins, etc. And also obviously being drywall manufacturers, we deal with all the large drywall distribution businesses. So again, you've got the likes of Encon, CCF, Sheffield Insulation Group, etc., etc. But if anybody's struggling to find out where to buy, they can obviously contact us, and we'll certainly point them in the right direction.
Okay, fantastic. If anybody has a question they'd like to put to Clive, if you could just hit the ask a question key, and we can put it to Clive for you. And do I have to buy a minimum quantity if I was going out to buy the product to do this? Is there a minimum quantity involved?
Well, yeah, because obviously the product is, as you saw in the video, it's a loose bag, so the material tends to move around a bit. So to avoid potential risk of damage during transit, we actually put 40 bags in a pallet. So we sell them by the pallet to our distribution of merchants. Some of those will obviously split bags depending on the relationships and that they have with people. But to give an idea, 40 bags on a pallet is roughly 640 square meters in coverage. So you can say that's sort of 2-3 bedroom houses of sort of normal medium size.
All right. Are we back on, Chris? Have you got mic? No. Oh, I'm really sorry.
How about now?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, what a nightmare.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
put yourself on mute.
nothing worked. Oh, give me a plastering machine all day long.
Yeah. Check your phone.
Well, it makes it all more interesting.
It does.
So what about if I wanted to do this? I mean, obviously you can't just pick up a machine and go for it. Do you offer training?
I'll answer that. I've not done anything yet. At our Sittingbourne and Imminent factories, you can come along and do some training with us. We'll offer some free train, to you guys, probably the first 5 who signed up today. Normally the train's about £240 per person, and we are CITB accredited.
Oh, fantastic. Right, so you're going to give away 5 training courses for the first 5 people that signed up?
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. I wish you'd have told me. We could have pushed that across social media, get more people on.
I felt bad, to be honest with you, because it went a bit, Pete Song for me this in. So, yeah, free training.
All right, I'll check out who signed up first, which 5 people signed up first, and we'll give you their names and you can get in touch with them to sort that out for us. That's fantastic. Thank you.
As well as the training, we also do support site work. So, if somebody's on site and they need some assistance, Chris and his team would be more than happy to go out and support.
Fantastic. I've got a question here actually from Paul. He's saying, are there any pre-requirements before doing the training?
No.
Nope. There you go.
We've had lots of painters and decorators come along to do the training. Come with an open arm. As long as you've got a little bit of trail skills, that really crust. But yeah, no prerequisites.
Okay, so it's no prerequisites, Paul. No. Can you offer a demonstration? Is that something that you do?
Yeah. Clive?
Yes, we do. Yeah, no, we're more than happy to support that, especially to clients, etc. So yeah, if you're looking or talking to some clients and you're thinking about introducing the system, then yeah, please get in touch. We're more than happy to support demos. We can obviously go through a pre-start meeting, all the sort of the other benefits that are linked with the product around water, waste management, those sorts of things. which helped to obviously cement the system in the minds of people. So yeah, more than happy to do that.
Okay, fantastic. Paul's saying, can he sign up? So how do people get on your training courses?
Yeah, so I've still got a bit of an echo, so bear with me. I'm not a retard. Go to our website. It's really weird because I'm hearing myself twice, right?
Turn your mic down a bit.
Yeah, well, that's why I have done that. Honestly, it's terrible. Right, go to training@knauf.co.uk. You can go to our website, or you can alternatively give us a call on our, I think it's 017 424 499. We'll put that on the comment box in a minute. Give us a call. You'll come through to Knauf Technical, and one of my colleagues can book you in. We can give you all the dates and information available. There is 2 places we do this. Like I said, it's Sittingbourne and Nimmin. We can also come to your place of work if it's a big project, for example, or you've got a large quantity of people who want training. If you're a training provider and you work with CITB, you can use the levy system, and so you can get a discount on your training. So that's very useful for larger companies, especially, like Balfour Beatty, that type of larger custom. But yeah, get in touch with us.
Okay, do you want to type those details in the comments box for the guys so that they can get in touch with you about the training?
Sure. So I think if the first 5 register with yourself, Paula, and then we can obviously double check we've got the right names, etc.
Yeah, I'll send you those through. But if Paul's not one of those first 5 signed up, he's like to sign up anyway.
Yeah, no,
and anybody else that's
noted him down, so yeah, no problem.
Anybody else that's sort of watching this later as well, if your details are there, they'll be able to get in touch with you and follow up on those trainings.
And probably laughing.
I'd like a bit of humour first thing.
We're better at training than we are at this sort of thing. Don't worry.
And sound was perfect until we came live. So who can apply? Who's the best person to apply to do training?
Anyone.
Yeah, literally anybody. I mean, typically in the past it would have been the traditional plasterer, but we learned very quickly that actually a tape and jointer and a decorator have the required skill sets already, and it's just a matter of understanding perhaps the machine if they're not familiar with machine application, and working with the material. So I don't think there's anybody that's been through our training school, and we must have had probably best on, I know, hundreds of thousands by now.
Yeah, absolutely loads of people. This is the most popular course we do. It's one day. You'll get yourself or other content guys who do this. We're all trades-based guys. You drink as much tea as you want, and what you'll get at the end of the day is you'll get Knauf technical support. So if you take this live onto a project and you need our help, we'll be there to hold your hand on the first day in front of your clients if you need it, that sort of thing. It gives people a massive amount of comfort when they've got the major manufacturer as a backup as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. You're not just out there on your own once you've done the training, that you guys will support them in that way. Paul's asking, why do you think airless spray isn't that prevalent yet?
I think it's probably a combination of factors. Obviously, as an industry, construction industry, we're very traditional in our ways, and we're very slow to embrace modern technologies and change. If you think back to when render was first introduced in the UK, it took a number of years for people to actually start using those products. And of course, now it's almost standard practice to render external walls, and with obviously traditional plastering, it's pretty much the same. You've got all your traditional plasters that sort of probably in their later years, they're tried and tested, and they're used to just buying a bucket and a trowel. And of course, it seems to be the younger generation that are being more attracted to this type of technology, perhaps particularly where they've had a family business and they're now seeing, perhaps fathers, grandfathers who physically just have worn themselves out through the application process. And the airless system is definitely much less strenuous on the body. You go home after a day's work, doing 200 meters, and you don't feel tired at all. You feel fairly fresh. So there's lots of other tangible benefits around the system. Health and safety is one. We minimise the risk around working at height, as well as all those other benefits around, say, sustainability, water management, etc., etc.
We find a lot of the site supervisors, the major sort of let's specifiers of it don't understand the system enough. They understand tape and joining, they understand standard traditional plastering. So with this, once we do a demo, it just sells the system straight away. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, we've got major main contractors like Waits and Mace and similar people to that are now specifying these products regularly on their projects. I mean, Waits, for example, I think we're on our 13th job at the moment, and that ranges from residential to schools to care homes to all types of work. So the message is getting out there. Knauf have a job to do in terms of if you like, increasing that awareness through the architect and main contractor routes, which we're obviously actively doing. But yeah, it does take time. But we are getting there. I mean, I think to date we've done just over 6.5 million square meters. If you look at the various projects that we've been involved with, so it's certainly getting out there and being recognised.
Paul said that's really useful. Thank you. So you touched on about the how strenuous traditional plastering is on the body. What are the benefits to the body in doing it through airless?
Well, you're not having to use, in terms of your elbow, for example, tennis elbow plasters is very prevalent. If you're spraying this, you're not having to hand apply the material. There's a lot of effort goes into that, a lot of moving around, a lot of effort, on your shoulder, on your elbow. Personally, I've had issues with my shoulder. I've had 2 operations on that, and my elbows now, I've got tennis elbow and that. If I'm spraying, nothing at all. It's just literally just a very simple wipe over the material, and I've closed it in already. I'm not working it forever and ever. It just makes a massive difference. If someone says to me, can you spray a 9 metre section of 3 metres? I've done it in less than 10 minutes. Simple as that.
That's so much
brilliant.
easier. And what are there any environmental or sustainability benefits of the product?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's not gypsum and being crushed marble, straight away you're eliminating the associated cost of recycling any gypsum waste, which, as we all know, is quite an expensive thing these days. In terms of the sort of water management side, because we're obviously delivering a product that's pre-mixed, ready for use straight from the bag, typically you need probably a 2-gallon bucket of water on site each day, and that's mainly for cleaning your tools actually, rather than, because once the machine's set up Monday morning, you just leave it connected. It can leave it there right away through the week. You don't need to clean it down every night. And then and it's a 2-gallon bucket of water to clean the pipes out at the end of that working week. So we've done some comparisons where we've looked at projects of sort of 15,000 square meters, which isn't particularly big, to be fair, but on a job of that size we save over 12,500 litres of water, which obviously is very good for the environment. It also reduces costs. It takes the need for water standpipes out in high rise, which is quite an expensive installation and decommissioning cost. In terms of material waste, we're seeing less than 1% waste. Typically it's about 0.5%. Most of that waste is that empty plastic bag once the material's been squeezed through the mangle, because everything you take off the wall in that leveling process, providing it's not contaminated with dirt or dust, you go back in the machine and get reused. So we're seeing waste is dramatically reduced, and of course that's all saving time and cost to the end user.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I've just noticed there was a question. I just want to mention it for other people in case they've not noticed. Paul was asking if there'd be any warranty issues if spraying Knauf products onto non-Knauf boards. And I know you've answered that, Chris.
Yes, sorry.
It's fine. Just says the product's been tested on all types of gypsum boards across manufacturers. So no, there's no warranty issue, just for any of you that missed that. So do we have any other questions? Because I think we're coming to the end of the session. And is there anything else you'd like to tell us about Knauf and the airless system?
Well, Knauf, as people probably may not aware, we're not just in the UK, we are a global business. We're still a family-owned business. We operate in 90 countries around the world. And whilst we're obviously primarily talking about finishes, we do have a much wider portfolio of products ranging from flooring to drywall, renders, etc., etc. So hopefully we can offer more than just the finishing materials. Anything from your side, Chris, in terms of training or etc.?
I think site support massive for us as a team. We've got a dedicated team who have all got these types of machines in the back of their trucks. They drive around the UK. They hold hands of contractors who are using this for the first time. We do site inspection visits, that sort of thing. So our support's really good. We're a really friendly company. You'd be quite surprised how approachable we are.
Yeah. One thing I'd just like to go back on is obviously with the mention around warranties onto other manufacturers' boards. All three manufacturers of plasterboard in the UK are part of the Gypsum's Product Development Association, and we all sign up to the statement around warranty. Basically, the warranty stops once the board has been tape and jointed. So if somebody's offering a full system warranty, it applies, if you like, on the metal studs, the screws, the boards, the jointing. Anything after that stage is outside of a warranted system. So it doesn't really, we have lots of occasions where other people's plasters are put onto our boards and vice versa. There's nothing that anybody can do about that in terms of saying, oh, well, you won't get your system warranty because it's not our product. That is not the case. We all have to accept that statement.
Oh, that's reassuring.
Quite an important point because I know a lot of people get concerned about that.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for clarifying that for us. And thanks for joining us this morning. It's been a really informative session. I'll
part of it was.
What a nightmare.
Well, didn't you say to me that you never stop talking? Well,
oh yeah, we thought this would go on for about 3 hours because I don't normally stop talking, but all I can hear is an echo in my ear. Yeah, sorry, Clive. Well done for cracking on your own.
Thanks everyone for who joined, and hopefully the others that listen at a later time. Please get in touch if we can help in any way.
Thanks ever so much, and I'll get back to you later today with those names and email addresses for the guys.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Okay. Cheers. Bye bye.